If you're looking for the best things to do in the Blue Mountains or Katoomba, you're probably planning your first trip and wondering about your options. I've been there a few times now, and trust me, this area can be so much more than just a quick day trip from Sydney. But planning a visit to the Blue Mountains can be confusing. Should you stay in Katoomba? Is Scenic World really worth the money? Which hikes are actually doable in a day? Do you need a car, or is there public transport? In this video, I'll share everything that I've learned so you can skip the trial and error part for first-time visitors. To further help, I've created a specially pinned map which I've linked in the description below so you can easily plan out your days and find the exact starting points for trails and lookouts. Echo Point is the most popular lookout in the Blue Mountains, and for good reason, because it's the best spot to see the famous Three Sisters rock formation. If you can swing it with time, I recommend visiting at different times of the day and more than once. You'll be surprised at how the landscape changes with the colours, the clouds and the clarity. A visit just before sunset shows the sun hitting the cliffs, which is just incredible. The orange glow spreads across the valley, giving the rocks a golden edge that almost looks unreal. On the other hand, the early morning glows feature low clouds on the valley floor and make you feel like you're in heaven. The lookout itself is easy to access with wide boardwalk paths and a few stairs. It's also the starting point for several hiking trails, so you can come here for a quick photo stop or stay longer and explore. Parking can be a little tricky during peak times, but there is metered parking in the streets. You just might have to walk a little bit. In the end, if you only visit one lookout in Katoomba, make it this one. It's the most iconic, and even after multiple visits, I still find myself coming back here first. Scenic World is one of those attractions that seems touristy at first, but it's actually fun and efficient way to see the Blue Mountains from several angles. A Scenic World pass gives you unlimited access to 3 rides: the steepest train, the Cableway, the Skyway, plus the walking trails, lookout decks and cafes. You can easily spend a full day here if you take your time on each section, but it's also possible to do everything in about 2 to 3 hours if you're short on time. The ticket price may seem high at first, around $60 for adults, but it includes unlimited rides, so you get a lot for the cost. The visitor centre is modern with clear signage and friendly staff who explain the best order to do the rides. I suggest starting early in the morning to avoid the crowds and finishing with lunch at the Lookout restaurant, which has panoramic views across the valley. The Scenic Railway is one of my personal favourites. It's quick but surprisingly fun. Not sure if you know, but it's actually the steepest passenger railway in the world with an incline of 52 degrees. The ride starts at the top near the visitor centre, drops sharply through the dark tunnel and pops back out in the rainforest below. There seems to be an option to ride with a steeper incline, but we had a little trouble getting this to work, although the slight adjustment we had in our carriage could have been broken. It's a short trip, over within a minute, but the sudden tilt catches you off guard in the best way and is very exciting. If you prefer, you can also take the train one way, walk through the rainforest trails below and then come back up using the Blue Cableway. An option if you're short on time and day tripping from Sydney. As it was for us, I think we rode it about 4 times, going both forward and backwards. The Scenic Skyway ride is the large yellow cable car that glides straight across the Jamison Valley from the Scenic World Visitor Centre past Katoomba Falls to East Station. It doesn't directly pass the Three Sisters, which is a little further away, but you can see them on every trip. East Station doesn't have much to do except for a lookout point or some secondary car parking spaces. You will have to exit the cabin when it gets to East Station, but if the line is small, you can get straight back on if you like. However, I would recommend getting off for the lookout photos and using the 30 minutes for the Skyway to make a return trip. Otherwise, you could plan a trip with the surrounding hiking trails as well. One fun feature in the Skyway ride is the glass floor in the centre of the cabin. About 20 seconds after takeoff, it suddenly turns clear, revealing the forest below. If you're not great with heights, I suggest sticking to the edge and you can still enjoy the view without looking straight down. The windows are made from clear perspex and there's an open air section where you can take photos without glare. I managed to capture some great shots of Katoomba Falls from here, and it's worth riding in both directions if you have time. The Cableway ride starts from Scenic World and takes you down 545 metres into the rainforest below. The cabin is large with floor-to-ceiling glass, so you can see straight out across the valley as you descend. I like this one because it's slower and quieter than the train, giving you time to take in the view without the adrenaline rush. Once at the bottom, you'll find several rainforest walking tracks that loop through the valley. Most are boarded or sealed, with some stairs and slight inclines, making them accessible to anyone with basic fitness. Along the way, you'll come across small art displays, painted mushrooms, butterfly cutouts, and signs explaining the local plants and animals. It's a nice touch that makes the walk feel less commercial. If you have more time, you can continue along longer trails that connect to other lesser known areas. Even if you're only here for a short visit, the lower walk is still worth doing and takes less than an hour to see it all. It's peaceful, shaded, and gives you a real sense of the scale of the Blue Mountains from below. Katoomba Falls is another highlight that's easy to reach and great for first-time visitors. There's a few different trails to choose from depending on how much time you have. Some people start from the Scenic World car park, where you can follow the round walk, a loop that takes about 45 minutes to an hour. If you've got more time, you extend it by linking the Prince Henry Cliff Walk for extra viewpoints of the waterfall and valley. The falls themselves are tiered, dropping in sections down into the cliffs. It's one of those few waterfalls in the region that looks good even in low flow because of how it spreads across the rocks. For a view of the entire falls, the Skyway is the best spot. Just make sure you stand in the carriage on the cliff side in the open air section where there's no glass covering the window. The Blue Mountains has so many different lookout points that it's easy to get overwhelmed, but a few stand out above the rest. Govet's Leap Lookout in Blackheath is one of the most famous after Echo Point. It overlooks Rose Valley and the drop is enormous. You can see Bridal Veil Falls plunging into the cliff face from the distance. Closer to Katoomba, there's Eagle Hawk Lookout, Boar's Head Lookout and Sublime Point near Leora. Each offers a slightly different angle of the valley, but to be honest, after a few they do start to blend together. What makes them worth visiting is the lighting. Both sunrise and sunset change the colours of the cliffs completely. If you're limited on time, I recommend visiting Echo Point, Govet's Leap and Sublime Point for the most variety. Those three give you a good balance between accessibility and scenery without spending your entire day hopping from one lookout to another. When I first heard about the Katoomba Night Walk, I thought it sounded like something special, a lit up trail that you explore in the forest after dark. After talking to a local, I found it doesn't always run as advertised. Some of the lights are often broken and certain sections can be very dark, so bring a torch or headlamp if that's the case. We started from Prince Henry Picnic Area and the trail itself runs for about 1.3 kilometres. This all links part of Prince Henry Cliff Walk with Katoomba Falls. It's quiet at night and if the lighting is working, the waterfalls and trees glow softly under the LEDs. For the photo buffs, the handheld shots were nearly impossible because of how dim it was, so I would recommend a tripod if you can lug it around. Even though it's hit and miss, I still think it's worth checking out if you're staying overnight in Katoomba. On a clear night, the sounds of the forest and the glow of the valley give it a very different kind of atmosphere. The Jamison Valley offers some of the best free walking trails in the Blue Mountains. A lot of them start around Echo Point with varying lengths and difficulties. The Honeymoon Bridge walk is short and connects directly to one of the Three Sisters via a small bridge. I was disappointed to find it closed during my visit due to rockfall hazards, and from what I've heard, there's no clear date of when it might reopen. Hopefully they'll stabilise the area soon because it's one of the closest points to the rock formation itself. Other popular tracks include the Giant Stairway, which drops deep into the valley, and the Prince Henry Clifftop Walk that links Echo Point to Leora. The Furber Steps are another option, offering a steep descent that connects back to the Scenic World area. If you're short on time, I'd recommend doing sections of the Grand Clifftop Walkway, which gives you the cliff edge views without committing to a longer hike. Just remember to carry water and check for any trail closures before setting off. One thing many visitors miss is the street art scene in Katoomba, and Beverley Place is just a short walk from the town centre. It's a small laneway filled with large murals, graffiti-style artwork and colourful designs by local artists. It only takes about 5 to 10 minutes to walk through, but it's a great little detour, especially if you're already near the train station or grabbing a coffee nearby. All the artworks are free to view, so it's worth checking out. I like how it gives Katoomba a creative edge, breaking up the nature-focused activities with something different and urban. Wentworth Falls is one of the must-see waterfalls in the Blue Mountains, and the area has several lookouts and waterfall trails that offer different perspectives. The main track is about 1.5 to 2 hours return, depending on how many viewpoints you stop at. From the car park, the first viewpoint is Jamison Lookout, which gives you a wide valley view. Then, as you continue down, you'll reach Wentworth Falls Lookout and Fletcher's Lookout, both of which offer fantastic views of the upper and middle sections of the waterfall. Each viewpoint adds something different. The upper lookout shows how the water spills before dropping, while the lower gives you a closer look at the cascades. If you're not keen on the steep return climb, just stop at the second lookout, which is still impressive and easy to reach. We took the Weeping Rock circuit and walked right over the top of Wentworth Falls. Past here were lots of stairs and descending into the base of the falls, which we didn't have time for, but it looked amazing if you did. I visited after a few dry days, so the flow wasn't huge, but the scenery made up for it. After some rain though, it's one of the most powerful sights in the region. Minnehaha Falls sits at North Katoomba, and it's a bit of a hidden spot compared to the main tourist areas. The walk is around 1.5 kilometres each way, and I'd rate it as moderate because there are a few steep sections and rocky steps near the end. To be honest, I didn't love this trail as much as the others. It was quiet and filled a spare afternoon, but the lookout felt a bit far from the waterfall itself. However, the pool below looked like it would be better after a good stretch of rain, so timing really matters here. We saw a few locals cooling off in the water, although I bet that was freezing. If you've already seen Katoomba and Wentworth Falls and want to see something less crowded, it's a decent backup option. Otherwise, I'd save this one when you have extra time or if you're chasing a swim on a hot day. We used a car during our stay, which made getting between the lookouts and waterfalls much easier. However, parking overnight in Katoomba was often a challenge. Spaces near your hotel fill up fast, and some car parks have strict time limits. If you're visiting as a day trip from Sydney, having a car is a big advantage. You'll cover more ground and fit in several major attractions in one day. And the drive from Sydney to Katoomba only takes about 1.5 to 2 hours each way. If you don't want to drive, you can take the train from Sydney Central Station to Katoomba Station, and I'll link my Sydney public transport video in the description below. Once there, walking between the main sites isn't ideal because they're spread out. Instead, buy a ticket for the Blue Mountains Explorer bus, a red hop-on, hop-off bus service that stops at over 30 locations, including Scenic World and Echo Point. Apart from that, you can book day trips from Sydney to help you get there and around town. They're on a strict schedule, but will stop at the major highlights like Scenic World and Echo Point. I'll link these in the description below. Visiting the Blue Mountains and Katoomba is one of the best short getaways you can do from Sydney. But if you're now looking for other things to do in Sydney, please click for my video here. Thanks so much for watching all the way through, and give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I'll see you for the next one, guys.